Hello, this is Children's World on Active Learners channel. This program focuses on the world of children and what constitutes the world of children. So, parents, facilitators, school proprietors, and proprietors would be able to know how to relate to children and prepare to handle children or to teach children. You are welcome to the program Children's World on Active Learners channel. You can visit us on YouTube and on Facebook. It is the same Active Learners channel. You can send us your comment as you watch this video, and perhaps you would want us to talk about a particular issue as far as children are concerned. Just send that comment to 0243 710 577. 0243 710 577. We have been dealing with cognitive development, the stages of cognitive development, and this is the third of the series. Today we are talking about pre-operational stage of the cognitive development. And as usual, I have with me Mr. Prince Joe Anderson. He is a counseling psychologist and he's here to help us digest the topic and find out more about children as far as pre-operational stage is concerned. Mr. Anderson,
Yes, please.
you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
How's work?
Yeah, work is going on well successfully, though challenging yet, but it's okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Challenges push us to
Mm,
do better
that is
and
it.
come out the best.
Mm.
Yes. Today we want to talk about pre-operational stage
Mm,
as far as stages of the cognitive development is concerned.
mm,
Help us to understand what pre-operational stage
mm.
is all about.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Also, say hi to all viewers and followers as well. And when we mention, we speak about pre-operational stage, we are talking about a stage where that is we have done the previous stage, that is sensory stage. So the child now pick the sensory and move on to the next level, that is pre-operational. And then the child now uses internalized thoughts or images to communicate. Now, so the child develop images within himself and symbols. Normally, he or she would use symbols to represent inanimate objects, for instance, give life to a toy. So the child assumes a toy has life, just like he or she may have life. So maybe you want to speak to a toy like a normal human being and relate to the toy like that, but it uses symbols and images to do that communication. So in that state where that's where everything that the child is forming and developing become permanent. So we call that an object permanency stage, where the child develop permanent thoughts and images and connect those images with uh, communication and then how to deal with the world and itself. So the child form a perception that is almost becoming permanent, though it's not fully developed. But the child pick a particular image and use that image to communicate. And then other image or symbol. And then it is formed within the concept as a personal concept that is not the world concept. So, for instance, a child picks, let me say, a child closes their eyes and assume nobody is seeing it. Put their hand on their eyes and then close it like this. Presuming that, so far I've closed my eyes, I'm not seeing anybody, nobody's seeing me. So at that state, that's what the thought happens. So the child thinks that when I lift my hands and close my eyes are closed. So I'm permanently invisible to people around me, but yeah, it's not. So that's the perception the child forms. So, and that perception is very difficult to change because it becomes permanent. So that's what the child develops and then connects it to other things while developing along the other stages of life. So that is why at that stage we caution parents to be careful what they expose to the children and that time because they are forming object permanencies. So if you show hatred, the child will pick hatred as a permanent thing in life. We show love, that will be done. So anything that they show, remember they are between the ages of 4 to 7. So they know something that and they keep something within themselves. So whatever you show to them in terms of learning and love and care and support and all that, anything you show to them stays with them. But they are forming object permanency thing.
Okay.
They, everything they pick there is permanent with them. And they pick that permanency in their own perception, not as the word see it. So they have their own language they speak over there. Yes. That's the stage that happens there.
The part that talks about the fact that whatever they form or whatever idea they form becomes permanent or becomes difficult to
Yeah, sure.
correct or change. Let me say so. It becomes difficult to change. I feel it becomes so problematic for a child at that stage to form an idea and then he wouldn't be ready to have anybody change that idea.
That's it.
How do mature people fit into the child's world
Word. Yeah.
to be able to do some corrections when if the child is going wrong?
Wrong, yeah. No, normally, those children at that stage connect to significant others in their life, probably a teacher, a Sunday school teacher, a loving uncle or auntie that likes them and then take them out and do things with them.
Okay.
So they connect to those people more. So probably that is the best route to use. Now, you realize that a child will come and then say, this is what my teacher says. Whatever you say it doesn't go in for her because my teacher said this A and that is it. The parent cannot correct it. You will fight, you will argue with you, struggle with you. Then the teacher comes and then comes, no, I said this and that is right. What that is also saying is also right. Then the child adjusts to that. So my Sunday school teacher said, no, this is what my Sunday teacher said. And that is it. And so you normally realize that they will have challenge with you, the parent, arguing and then trying to fight over. So now go into their world by speaking their language. Oh, okay. You close your eyes. I also close my eyes, but I can touch you. Then if I'm invisible, why are you touching me? So I'm now getting to understand that if I'm invisible, you can still touch me by closing my eyes. So you go to the child's world by speaking the child's language and then relating to them. From the child feel like sitting on the floor to play. Join the child over there. You don't say, we don't play on the floor, so why should I play? So you wouldn't come and then play on the table. You won't do that because my concept is play on the floor. So if you want me to play, then come and join me on the floor. That's why you see preschool teachers mostly at that stage, but they are always mingling, but they understand the concept that you have to move into the child's world to correct the child. But normal parents wouldn't do that. So the child will fight you because you're not understanding his language in his world. You are pushing your word into his word, you won't accept it.
That is really a problem. This is Children's Well on Active Learners channel. We want to receive comments from you, whatever you want to say concerning the topic we are dealing with. We are talking about pre-operational stage of cognitive development. Here, we are interested in introducing parents, introducing facilitators, and mature people into the world of children so we will understand them when they behave in a particular way and then learn to adjust to their kind of world. I hope you are ready for that. And so the discussion continues with Mr. Prince Anderson, our counseling psychologist here. Now, when we talk about this stage, you just said we have to go into the world of the children and we have to join them actually. I remember the sensory motor stage where you said because of how the children behave, if we want to create an enabling environment for them, we need to clear the environment of anything that would lead to danger. Now let's come to pre-operational stage. Children of this stage, what kind of environment or atmosphere should we create for them? Even talking about planning a curriculum for children of this stage.
Thank you. Once again, I would say that since they have a different perception about how the world looks like, then we know that they need probably A to be able to move on to the next level.
Okay.
And so that A must be suitable to their environment, that is their perception of what the world looks like. For instance, if a child sees probably counting objects as something they have to use to learn, now make the counting object attractive to the child. The child may, you can observe that by probably seeing a child with colors.
Okay.
The child is attracted to a particular color. Probably, I like red. You put colors, then it goes for one. Another person pick that color and you fight with the child. I like that color. That's my color. You're choosing the color. So probably you design things and suit that part, the child's color. That is if from I'm taking from home situation, then it comes to a school situation. Then a school situation, I can have variety of children coming with different perceptions as they are forming. In that state, they can form different perceptions at different levels. Actually, at the pre-operation, they have two stages. You have one that is intuitive, that they think within themselves. And then another one also they come outside and think around it. So they use that thing on the pre-operational stage. So at one level, from two to probably four that way, four to probably five that way, they will be doing that one. Then from five to seven, they will be doing that another thing. And so at each of the stage, something is happening, something happening there. So that is why, as a probably a curriculum developer, you have to now know the child, study the child. Children, in fact, mostly do that. Actually, those who design curriculum do that. They look at the children and then they put them into observable state where they will allow them to play freely and then explore their area, and then they pick from that and develop the curriculum for them. And so at that time, they are forming permanent images and they are forming permanent symbols that can later be altered but not completely altered. So designing curriculum must be factored in how the children see the world. So if they are seeing the world, then they are going to learn from the world and live with it for the next stage of their life. So everything that's going to be designed must be designed in congruence with their perception. I perceive that uh, if I take my nap, then I can eat. So you force a child to eat, say, I can't eat because I'm not taking my nap. And that's the way the child has understand it. Mommy said if I bath before I can eat. I've not bath, I've not eat. So if you say force the child to eat, it will cry. Why? Because I've not taken my bath. That's what mommy said. So then, okay, mommy said this, okay, but now you have to take medication. So because of the medication will disorganize your system. So let's take them breakfast after that, just after that, I'll bath with you. Then you follow up after the food, go and bath with the child, because that's what you said.
Yeah.
Now, then the child formed that trust. I gave my trust to you, and then you must give me your trust. But if you tell me I've taken the meal, which I'm supposed not to take after bathing if I do that, but then after eating you don't bath me, I mean you're not trustworthy. So the child formed those things with symbols and images and things. So curriculum, you realize most times when they design children books, they use pictures and images because they are forming images within themselves, and they connect to images and then communicate with that. So probably they use signs, mommy, mommy carrying. You have their language, short statement, and then straight away stand and do that. 2-year-old doing something. So at that stage, you realize that they communicate with symbols and then images. So that is why in developing curriculum, we consider what they see, what they perceive of the world, and then inculcate that one into the syllabus and make it less restricted, very simple, straightforward, and they pick it and then they develop with it. And it becomes permanent and then so they build on that in their recognition as they are developing it.
Wow, wow, wow. We are getting some revealing information over here. You are still watching Children's World on Active Learners channel. We are talking about the pre-operational stage of cognitive development. We are still waiting for you to send your comments. And if you want to contact Active Learners channel for any information, you can just send us. It can be a message, WhatsApp to 0243 710 577. 0243 710 577. Now, recently it was in the news about trying to differentiate between homeschool and normal
Regular school.
school,
Okay.
and people were trying to show their preferences, and some felt that homeschool was the best for the child.
Mm.
Let's look at the two.
Mm.
Which one would you recommend for
Yeah.
parents? And then, if anyone chooses homeschool, what do you think the person should do? And why do you think homeschool could be good for the child?
Okay. Preference may depend. Now, one, if you choose homeschool, you have the facilities to run it. That's the problem.
Okay.
Somebody may choose a homeschool, but then there's no facility as in probably regular schools that have been set up, proper set up for children. And then remember that at homeschool, probably you have to put up facilitators and nurses and other people around that may support. It may not necessarily be the parent, but probably or relatives or people who are actually related to a child. But then, also once again, it depends on the year, the ages of the child. For the, if you take from sensory stage from 0 to probably 4, fine. Because one, care is needed, and so a few hands around the child will be okay. But from the pre-operational stage, where the child is now forming and trying to use the concept of a formation to now develop. Now, the child must come in contact with a variety of children with different characters and behaviors. And that is where socialization develops. So, when the child is kept at home school, how many children are with the child? Is it the caregiver alone, or probably one or two? They mean that you are restricting the child in its development and exploration. So, the child may develop in a skewed way. You know what I'm saying? That the child will be skewed in development because I know only my caregiver, and that is it. So socialization, when you open up to the child now after from probably 7 years going, he'll go to school by your mingle because why? He doesn't know anybody. He doesn't know how to relate to people. Then in the other side, so that is the general public sector where children are many. That one's also care is given there, but then there's also attention is the problem there.
Okay.
Attention directed to a child per time at the moment. So in both cases, there are challenges there.
Yeah.
But then in all cases, if concentration goes to a particular area, then a child will have a full development and then be okay. So choosing it will be difficult for me to choose, depending on the facility and then and then the situation around.
It would be difficult for one to decide whether to choose a home care or
a regular.
main school.
So a blend will do. Yeah, a blend will do.
Disadvantages.
Yeah,
a blend will do. How do you blend the homeschool with socialization? Someone who chooses homeschool may not necessarily want to bring the child to school for the purpose of socialization, but there may be some other avenues. Other avenues which that parent can use to help the child socialize.
Okay, one would be a church, or maybe a social gathering, probably family gatherings, cousin birthday, weddings, and the child finds himself. I mean, sometimes we okay, let me say Ghanaian family presume that the children are too young to go to such places, so they are kept home.
Yes.
So the child socializes with the television. And again, so the child, now remember, the child is speaking and forming. So the child is subject to cartoons, violent cartoons, or certain things, and certain characters and images are being displayed, and the child is being fed on that. Meanwhile, if the child would have gone to a physical meeting, probably a family party, something, the child would have related with human, and then we know how to relate to human. So you see a child now grew to probably a television or a mobile phone. You don't understand why the child is doing that. But you introduce it to the child, or the child was forming.
Yes.
So the child formed a permanent relation with the television, with a game. Now he goes to social gathering and he sits down with his phone, doesn't talk to anybody. And so I would say that during the formation, we should be very careful in the aspect of doing that. So that if it's a home care, then you have to actually introduce the level of socialization in other cases, like churches and parties and family gatherings and things, or probably once in a while you walk a child into a playground where other children are gathering, then the child can also mingle and then pick up that social skills as
Yeah, it's true. The
needed.
issue of cartoon, brings to mind some of the things that cartoons are not carrying these days. You know, formerly you would feel that cartoon is the
Indicative.
safest
Yeah.
avenue for the child to receive some kind of entertainment. Let me say so. When you are busy, you want your child to be entertained so that you can focus on whatever you are doing. Cartoon may be
Yeah,
the best thing,
safest.
but then now it is very problematic because the kind of scenes that have been introduced into cartoon, makes it not safe these days for them. And so parents should be very, very careful.
Yeah.
Yes. Um, this is Active Learners Channel. The program is Children's World. We are waiting for your comments. Send your comments. Visit us on YouTube, watch the video, and send us your comments. Or you can also visit us on Facebook. It's the same Active Learners Channel. The program again is Children's World, here with Mr. Prince Joe Anderson. He is a counseling psychologist. You may want to contact him to assist you with an issue concerning your child or even with your own self. Just reach us, reach Active Learners Channel there. The number is 0243 Mr. Anderson, yes, at this juncture, I would want you to give some kind of advice to parents who have children of this stage. How many years? What's the range?
Yeah, that's it from 4 to 7.
4 to 7. That is
Pre-operational.
pre-operational
Yeah.
stage. 4 to 7 years. So if a parent has a child within that age range, what are some of the things that he should be very careful or be very attentive to?
Okay. One of the things that the child is forming a permanent object issue. So the child uses internalization and then also images. So the child thinks more within. That means the child look like a selfish person because, or probably egocentric person, because he or she thinks of himself first. Because I am developing, I'm acquiring knowledge and acquiring skills to be able to relate outside. The child become a bit self-centered in a way, but not selfish. It's a developmental stage. So in that stage, and the child is also picking images and then coding them as a permanent thing. So whatever you're going to show to your child, you have to be careful here because be it language, because it's forming language, it's forming images, it's forming pictures, it's forming. So then using those things now. So your child probably, let me use, I think with time we'll get to a stage where talk about the individual children, maybe a first child, a second child, and what happens to them. So for instance, the first child who happens to be around adults, pick a particular language, let's say now local that is where you're pinning some. Why the child has been exposed to only adult languages. That's at the formation stage. That's what the child pick up. So the child speaks like an adult. Meanwhile, a 7-year-old child. Because why he or she dwells among adults alone and plays among random. So the language skills that was acquired at that stage was adult language. So whatever you are showing to a child, be it images, symbols, gestures, the child is picking them. So you have to be careful.
Sure.
Don't underrate the child at that stage. The child doesn't know anything. He knows so much. By the time you start using it, you'll be shocked that he has picked up so much like that. So I would say that parents should be very careful the exposure they give to children between that age because they are pre-operation and they are picking to operate with it.
Okay.
So whatever they see in symbols and gestures and images and sounds and languages, they are forming them for their next level of usage. So no, they say
Carry it in, carry it out. What you are putting in was the carrot. Yeah. So garbage in, garbage out. Watch what you are putting in. This is how we want to end the program today. Remember to follow us on Facebook and on YouTube. The program is Children's World. And this is Active Learners Channel. My name is Emmanuel Kumachi. I want to say a very big thank you to Mr. Prince Joe Anderson for always availing himself to educate us on how to relate to our children, and how best we can handle our children. We hope to see you once again. Thank you also for watching. Till we meet again, take care.